Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the daily trend for week 45, day 4. It is Thursday, November 10th, 2016. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only. To support your knowledge in the market, see what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. All right, it was Rally Wednesday, post-election results. As we rolled in to Thursday, it was pullback Thursday, especially on the NQ. We'll show you some of those charts leading the session there for a 146-point drop to the downside to close out the daily gap from Monday's session. Those FANG stocks taking a hit today. Crude pretty much remaining quiet, and GC along with the solid trending session today as well. Going and keeping the 15-tick flex. Renko really like that setting. But it was those AM setups and the PM chop like usual. If you got this, if you got the ticks in the bank, leave it alone, walk away, come back another day, and see if you can do any better. So let's jump right in those charts. There it was, NQ to the upside, YM and ES. But if you'll notice, NQ struggling a little bit. So the question is, actually, we had a little bit of divergence activity here at the beginning of the market session. Is ES and YM were both to the upside. YM here in the middle chart, ES here on the right, and NQ struggling but finally being pulled along with the other three indices. But it was that to prevail? We'll see here in a moment. But as you can see, ES and YM out of the gate pretty much. A nice move to the upside if you caught the trend, but wasn't to last, as the NQ, finally the leading index here, bringing the entire session down, as the YM eventually was the one that struggled to get going here. We could see the NQ and the ES coming down there. All right, so there was that nice move on the NQ all the way downside. Underneath the 5144 cloud, you got your VWAP there. As you can see, the majority of charts in sync. But where is the turnaround point? You continue to ask yourself. Let your winners run, and there it was, not able to break the T350, holding to the downside, finally broke. And what is that? Well, that could have happened up there as well, and that could have been the end. You're watching the AD line. AD line struggling down here, resistance to get underneath the negative 45, unable to, finally breaks to the upside, price action upside, and you got yourself an entry, at least to the long on the counter trend. And it was here in this middle part where price action on the AD line just couldn't get going downside, really couldn't get going upside. So you pretty much just sat this out. Now, you might have taken some small scalps entry as price action lifted up, but for the most part, it was the biggest portion of the trend to the downside was over. All right, so NQ finishing out the rest of the afternoon. There was that chop session, mid-session. Finally getting a nice pop-up here with a couple of pullbacks. Again, in and outs, more like no successful trend until eventually price action really stuck here, unable to get upside. We'll show you that chart as to why some of those momentum was stalled there, but there was the last move back underneath the cloud, back underneath T350 VWAP into the downside to close out the session. Take a look at the Murray Math charts here. We can see price action. That's right. Let's go back here. You got this price action up here, unable to break upside. What's one reason it might be holding back? Well, you got yourself an overbought 7 to a 15-10-0 flex Renko, and then add in the fact that the AD line was unable to break above that pivot, and you got yourself a resistance saying, well, we're not going any higher, so you're not going to take any more long entries to the upside. And as we showed you, never really lasted long. Price action came down, chopped in between the 50 T350 and the 5144, and finally the cleanest entry of all. You don't need to deal with this stuff right here. Let it chop itself out. Go with the highest probability entry, either above the T350 and the 5144 or below. Anything else will always carry more risk. All right, let's jump into the ES as price action on the full session pick. You see that nice move all the way down, sweet clean entry all the way down. Price action pulled back to the T350, attempted to come back down. Mid-session chop here as price action finally broke out. There's a nice solid entry to the upside, and I like the NQ last minute drop there at the end. So we really came down and right back almost to the open on the ES. All right, there it is, the YM price action on a higher time frame here. We could see the mid-morning chop. We said that YM really didn't get going, and the YM really wanted to stay upside. And there it is, that nice long trend to the upside in the afternoon, or from the mid-session to the afternoon, staying to the upside and climbing to the highs, as the YM, as of yesterday's session, did a nice job of reaching all-time highs. Other charts of interest to the day that we saw the GC, nice move here from, this is already way past the open of gold, but again, a nice trending move, nice gold standard setup here. You got solid Heikin Ashi bars, downside in the trend, stay on it, let your runners run. That's right, let those solid Heikin Ashi bars keep you in the trend underneath the T350, underneath the T310, excuse me, that's the T310, T350 here in the dotted charts. And you got yourself a 51.44 to give you the overall big picture trend, which is to the downside. Let it run, let it run, let it run. And then you make a decision once Heikin Ashi bars cross over. All right, let's go up to the daily gap chart, see how we did. That's right, look at that YM just continuing to push higher and higher, leaving that daily gap downside. But NQ, that's right, taking care of business down here. Closing out the 96.50 gap from Monday's session. Nice move. So yesterday's price action upside, it will be only wonder to see if YM and ES are going to do the same tomorrow or next week. Crude continues to sit downside as open gaps upside remain open. Take a look at the AD lines. AD lines, wonderful market internal we've talked about, as we just mentioned, keeping the indices here. NQ upper right hand chart, we can see the resistance here at the pivot, not able to really break above, so momentum not going anywhere. YM with very little volume there in the afternoon session, and the AD line on the ES downside brings it back up and right back down to the 50, and we're not going any further as this is already post US regular trading hours. NISS NYSE, that is, big picture on a 10-minute chart here. We had that moving downside this morning after a nice push up right pre-market, but price action pulls back almost about 50% on the, let's get a draw from the top to the bottom, and exactly 50% on the AD line. How about that? Who have never thought about drawing a fib line on an AD chart? Well, there you go, 50% pullback, and price action decliners comes all the way back down. So overall picture for the day, trend, NQ downside, ES obviously downside, and YM, after a nice move upside, still pulls back on the AD line to the downside. All right, let's take a look at any of the particular charts. Let's take a look at crude. Crude, we had that nice move down there in the beginning, but popped it right back up. So really flat action. But and crude, as we see here in after hours, already still continuing to push down on a solid setup, almost with 5 charts in the red. So crude still sitting quietly around low 44s. All right, taking a look at the GC like we just saw. Nice trending session on the gold. Nice solid moves. There it is, solid Heikin Ashi bars underneath the VWAP. Here you have almost 5 charts in the red. Better setups here in the post, what would that be, about almost post 1 hour of the gold open. So downtrend continues, ensues. We'll take a look at the 4-hour chart and the daily chart, but gold overall big picture continued downside. Again, if the 10-7 Flex Renko is not working for you, all you have to simply do is go to a higher time frame. Keeps out a lot of that noise. And there you go. You got the Heikin Ashi bar. You're underneath the T350. VWAP, again, good line to watch if you want to watch a weekly as well. Something pointed out in the trading room today, but a VWAP weekly up there as well. Underneath the Globex session, and keeps you in the trend to the downside, whether you hold on for the long term or whether you exit and find re-entry opportunities. 6E, taking a look at the euro. Price action a little choppy here, but again, in reflection to the indices there, again, if this is set to a 6.3 Flex Renko, and if you want to go to the 10.7, but check it out right there to the VWAP resistance, really not being able to find a solid trend, maybe pockets of opportunity here. You can see Heikin Ashi bars downside, but again, quickly turns around inside Globex. So my recommendation is when you got a nice Globex session or you're range bound, if you got a smaller range with the Globex session, I'm going to pull this down here. You got a large Globex range, so typically if the range is smaller, then I would recommend taking your contracts off sooner. But if you got a large Globex session, I usually want to let it run a little bit further. But again, from the fact that price action was stuck between VWAP and Globex low, you would stick to the lower number where you would take your contracts off. So instead of letting it run 10 ticks or 15 ticks, whatever your preference is, you would take your first contract off at a shorter number. All right, so there's your recap on the 6E. All right, recaps are recaps, has nothing or indicative of where price action may follow. My 2 cents is that price action with the downside on the NQ might continue tonight on the Globex session. Solid Heikin Ashi bars downside 50, still below 144. Like I said yesterday, I still have to go with the downside on the NQ, even though we had a nice pullback there. But we do have resistance off the 50 MA, but perhaps if we've closed out this daily gap and we lift back upside, and we'll bring that 50 above the 144, then I'll go with the uptrend. But for now, I got to still stick with the downtrend. If we do go down, I'm going to watch that 200 MA on the NQ. YM with a lot of push up here, still with that open gap, a little concerning. We might not get that closed out till next week, and the same thing on the ES. So now that we have 50 above 144, just barely on the ES, it's a tough call. I want to say downtrend is the 50, still below the 144, but we're holding above the 50 and 200. We're holding above the 50 and 200, so I'll still need another day. The fact the 4-hour chart is on indecision, I'm still going to right now say indecision, but leaning towards the downside, maybe the pullback to the open gap or inside, but I need one more day on that to give you a solid current trend. And as far as the YM, definitely to the upside, 51.44, but I can see the pullback occurring back to at least close the open gap, or at least to go come back here and test the 51.44. Something I didn't point out yesterday that I forgot to mention is on that drawdown after the pre-election results. Look at that move down on the 4-hour charts all the way down here to these levels, 17.417, and we're back up to 18.754. What a move across the board on the 3 indices. So going from left to right, I'm going to go with the downtrend on the NQ ensuing. YM still, we're on an uptrend with the possibility of a probability of a pullback at some point to these moving averages, but the technical momentum is to the upside. And ES, a flicker of hope that it will continue to the upside, but just barely yet have a confirmed uptrend. So I'm going to go with the indecision and still stick with the downtrend, specifically the fact that we have an open gap and we have 2 indecision candles here on the 4-hour chart. Take a look at the crude. Crude again is remaining downside as reject here at the 50 EMA on a 4-hour chart as we hold in between the 50 and 200. So, you know, you got the downtrend. I would like to see crude get up above the 144 and break the 50 EMA to give itself a confirmed uptrend. But hey, we watch this every day, so we'll wait till tomorrow and see if we have a probability of an uptrend forming. As far as the GC, we know it to be to the downside. Gold now below the 200 MA as price action now downside underneath the 50 and the 144. So I'm going to go with gold to the downside for now. And then ZN bonds definitely to the downside as it holds underneath the 50 and the 144 on the 4-hour chart, guys. Last but not least, the EMD mid-cap 400, like there on the ES. I'm going to go with the same picture. 50 just about to break the 144 on the 4-hour chart, sitting above on the 50. So I'm going to still go with the probability of pullback to close out the open gap. As far as the 6E is concerned, on the euro, we are downside again after reject of the 50. We're back underneath 51.44. So downtrend on the yen as well. We do have open gaps that I believe at some point will be closed out, but we're still, you know, a little bit of pullback. Go back to the indices, a little bit of pullback, but we're still in consolidated area. As we take a look at the ES and the 4-hour chart, up here we have a lot of sideways action after we're still testing these upper bounds and the lower bounds as well. All right, that is our current technical momentum status on the daily indices, crude, yen, and variety of other indices and markets. Heading into tomorrow, don't forget we have consumer sentiment. Banks are closed. We'll see how the volume is. Tends to be a lot lower. Stanley Fischer speaking, Fed speaker, and that should maybe move the market just slightly, All right, that concludes an insight into the daily trend and technical momentum of the indices and key futures markets. Hey guys, feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My mantra of one simple strategy: any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day here on Twitter at Trading Fibs. And I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only watch what's in front of me and on my charts. And as always, leave your crystal ball at home and leave your bias at the door when trading as well. Hey guys, for those of you who are interested in joining or want to share in the community of like-minded traders seeking highest probability setups, feel free to email me, David at Trading Fibs. You may join us on any Thursday or Friday combo to view the live chart setups as they happen in the trading day. And if there's anything I forgot, I will make sure to either post that online or in the blog. Hey guys, almost end of the week. Glad the elections are over. Rate hikes, obviously, that's the next up. And just watching the news based on the upcoming President-elect Trump presidency. Hey guys, have yourselves a blue zone day wherever you may be. Good day, good night, and good trading to ya.